You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another anime review. And as you can see from the title, today we're going to be reviewing Redo of Healer. Now, Redo of Healer is very infamous because of some of its themes and things like that. So I'm sure, no doubt, at least some of you have heard of it. That said, I do think it's interesting that the title is Redo of Healer and not Redo of the Healer. And it's not the Redo of the Healer. This just seems a little grammatically weird to me with the way the title is, but it is what it is. So Redo of Healer is 12 episodes long, and it's basically a hentai. In fact, to buy it on Right Stuff, it is classified as an 18-plus purchase. It's licensed by Made in Japan, which is the same people who licensed Corpse Party Tortured Souls. I know they did other things, but that's the one I mainly know that they licensed here. So let's talk about the plot. So Redo of Healer is a series about a healer named Kaoru. Later changes his name to Kaoruga, but we'll get to that. But Kaoru was a hero, a healer. He was born a hero. It's just a thing that's like intrinsic to you in this universe. Some people are born heroes, others are not. He was born with the power of healing, which makes him the hero of recovery. Now, the power of healing works very uniquely in this universe, and I find that to be one of the most interesting aspects about it. The way that he heals in this universe is every time he heals someone, he can see all of their past actions and feel all of the experiences and pain they've experienced. And at first, this is obviously too much for him. In addition to that, it also allows him to steal people's abilities, change people's memories, and do all sorts of other crazy shit, because once he steals an ability, he can just incorporate it into his healing and just use it. So as you can imagine with that, the protagonist in this series is pretty fucking overpowered. I'm willing to overlook it just because of how much I like the concept and story here. It is definitely a little bit contrived in that regard. In addition to that, Kaoru was also horribly abused, raped, and tortured for a long time. He was made drug dependent, and then eventually he got himself a Philosopher's Stone and reset his life, hence why it's called Redo of Healer. And in this new version of his life, that's when he acquires even more crazy abilities. It's this special eye that basically lets him look at people's stats, if we were using video game logic. It lets him see how powerful people are, their actual identity, and a few other things. It's not exactly clear what all it can show, but it shows a lot more than just that, because it's also how he regains his memories from his previous life, because originally he didn't have that. After he gets the Philosopher's Stone, the series becomes a revenge story, and that is the main focus of it. It is a very vengeful story. The hero himself goes to take revenge on all the people who abused and wronged him in pretty graphic ways, and he definitely comes across as very sadistic in this series, the main character does. Kaoru is very vengeful, sadistic, and at times seems even sociopathic. Now, this might be a put-off for some people, but I honestly think that this narcissistic sadist makes a really interesting protagonist for me. I find it absolutely fascinating and compelling, so that's what makes me like the character more. And again, the people he's going after are people who did all this horrible shit to him in the first place. That said, he does some other morally questionable stuff. For instance, he does buy a slave, and he breaks her in. And he is very manipulative and manipulates a bunch of women to basically be his harem. So again, there's a lot of morally questionable stuff this protagonist does too. But again, that just makes it all the more fascinating for me. The series, like I said, it's very infamous for its themes of rape, slavery, violence, all sorts of stuff in it. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, and it definitely is very primal and angry with the way it feels. But I absolutely love it. I had a fun time watching it. I thought it was super interesting and fun the whole way through. I really liked the characters. I do think there's a few contrivances here and there. One of the main criticisms it gets is because of his contrived justifications of for the things he does, and I can see definitely where people are coming from with that criticism. Nonetheless, I still loved it. I think it's my favorite anime I've watched in a few months at the very least. It's definitely the first one that I've watched all the way through in a little bit, at least as far as the series. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I definitely will be buying the Made in Japan release of it, because I do want to have an official release as well. But yeah, this has been Fugitive Red Eye. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Have a good one. Toodles.
Curry sauce all over your anus. Delish.